How did Naomi Judd's work as a nurse help launch her daughter's career? And how did a tragic diagnosis change everything? Keep watching to learn what happened when the accomplished country musician stepped out of the spotlight. As the country music world continues to react to the devastating news of Naomi Judd's unexpected death, one thing has become abundantly clear. In many ways, Judd represented country music's 20th century mother, a mix of down-home country and contemporary values, as NPR described her. Nowhere is this better epitomized than in the Judds' 1984 hit, Mama He's Crazy. The song tells the story of a daughter explaining to her mother the intense feelings of first love. In one sense, the daughter's looking to her mom for wisdom and emotional stability. She also wants her mother's acceptance, but as the music video reveals, this proves difficult. Flashbacks in the video depict the mother's tragic experience with love, which makes her nervous for her daughter. But at the same time, she's a modern parent who has faith in her daughter to make the right choices. It's a clear update to the country music story of how women of different generations interact. As writer Julie Height argues, Naomi's emergence as one of the most famous mothers in country music was a revelation. Besides acting as a mother-like figure within the country music world, Naomi Judd was the entertainer and impresario during her 8 years of performing with her daughter. She wore full-skirted, colorful costumes and bounced around on stage telling jokes and flirting with the audience. Her style provided a foil to Wynonna Judd's rock and roll persona, equal parts Bonnie Raitt and Elvis Presley. The way they sang also proved to be a study in contrasts. While Wynonna Judd brought an unforgettable voice and musical talent to the group, she proved a bit shy and reserved on stage. Naomi Judd provided rich harmony, willing to take a back seat to her daughter's soulful melodies. She rarely sang above Wynonna Judd, preferring to deepen and bolster her daughter's voice. But when it came to show-stopping antics, heartfelt storytelling, and folksy charm, nothing beat Naomi Judd. She turned each performance into a truly entertaining experience that won over fans and kept people glued to their shows. Of course, the vast differences in their personalities could also prove troublesome at times. Music was one of their only outlets. Before making it big, they faced crippling poverty, which relegated them to purchasing bargain bin recordings. But this worked to their advantage. By learning the songs of the past, many of them coal mining ballads straight out of the heart of Appalachia, Naomi Judd introduced her daughter to the history of country music. Exploring this musical heritage provided a common ground. As Naomi said, Wynonna and I couldn't talk to each other, but lo and behold, we could sing together. Naomi Judd was born in Ashland, Kentucky on January 11, 1946 to Charles Glenn Judd, a gas station owner, and Pauline Ruth Oliver, a homemaker. Situated along the Ohio River, Ashland sits just below the Big Sandy River's mouth, forming an industrial complex with two neighboring cities. In existence since 1815, the town has long represented a center of coal and timber production. Judd inherited the rich culture of Appalachia, including its song traditions. Her career made Tennessee a more convenient home, and she lived there for more than 20 years. But blood is thicker than water, and this proves just as true when it comes to homelands. Judd always found reasons to visit her home state, and she remained a celebrated hometown girl throughout her career, returning to raise money for charities.
Ashland is really feels proud.
Naomi Judd was a star student in high school who had college ambitions, according to the New York Times. But after briefly dating a football player named Charles Jordan, she became pregnant and her life changed forever. When Jordan learned of the pregnancy, he refused to accept responsibility for his daughter. This was an untenable situation in 1964, leaving Judd pressured to marry another classmate, Michael Simonella. Judd gave birth to Wynonna Judd in June of that year, which meant foregoing high school graduation. By 1968, the young family relocated to Los Angeles, California, and had a second daughter, Ashley Judd, but the couple divorced by 1972. Naomi Judd remained determined to make it as a single mom. Amazingly, she juggled nursing school and raising two daughters alone. But California didn't feel like home, and an altercation with an ex-boyfriend sealed the deal. She packed up her kids and moved back to Kentucky, taking up residence in Morrill, a town with one main road and 50 residents. Foregoing basics like television and a phone line, Wynonna Judd recalled, "If we didn't make it or grow it, we didn't have it."
So she taught me how to make something from nothing.
To pass the time, Judd and her eldest daughter sang together in the evenings. Although everyone knows the Judds as Wynonna and Naomi, these weren't their original names. Naomi Judd was christened Diana Ellen Judd, and after marrying Michael Simonella, she took his last name. She named her firstborn Christina Claire Simonella. But once the marriage dissolved, Judd wanted her maiden name back, and she didn't want to stop there. Diana didn't fit her identity, so she looked to the Bible for a little inspiration. She went with Naomi, the mother-in-law of Ruth. After she and Wynonna Judd made it big in country music, it forced an equally difficult choice. She left her younger daughter, Ashley Judd, with her ex-husband while the redheaded duo toured. It's also worth noting that these name changes came before stardom, so they represent more than stage names. In Naomi Judd's case, the rechristening signified her role as a mother and her deep Kentucky roots in the heart of the Bible Belt.
A lot of mothers and daughters out there. We see ourselves in you all.
Before making it big in Nashville, Tennessee, Naomi Judd led a hard-scrabble life as a single mother, working any job she could to keep the family afloat. Returning to Kentucky gave her the chance to attend nursing school in Berea, according to PBS. It also allowed her and her daughters to move to Tennessee, where she worked as a registered nurse in the intensive care unit for a handful of years, according to the Lubbock Avalanche Journal. In 1991, Naomi Judd retired prematurely from country music's favorite duo, her body failing due to a hepatitis C diagnosis. Her nursing career came back to haunt her as she'd contracted the disease years earlier after accidentally getting pricked by a used needle. Speaking to an audience of nurses in Morristown, New Jersey, she explained, "When I was told I had hepatitis C, I was on top of the world selling out arenas. Then I was told I had 3 stinking years to live." The shock of this news left her reeling, and with the feeling she'd been medically cursed.
It's just unbelievable if you can imagine having to give up what you look forward to getting out of bed to do every morning.
Working as a nurse proved a bittersweet aspect of Naomi Judd's life. Because of her time in the medical field, she always fostered a camaraderie with other nurses, and the profession allowed her to support her family as a single mother. Although it would eventually be the reason her musical career got cut short, it also provided the Judds their initial entrance into the country music world. Naomi Judd was the first person to recognize her daughter's incredible vocal talents, and she didn't hesitate about what to do. Her registered nursing license allowed her to move the whole family to Nashville, Tennessee. Eventually, through one of her patients, she secured a live audition at RCA. She and Wynonna Judd performed for producer Tony Brown and studio head Joe Galante. At the time, Wynonna Judd was just 18 years old. Despite their inexperience performing in front of others, the duo impressed RCA. 2 hours later, they walked out of the audition as the Judds, with a contract in hand. The duo released their first album in 1984, and it quickly shot to the top of the charts. Over the years, Naomi Judd opened up about the depression she struggled with, describing her mental illness as life-threatening. She noted that fans never suspected this side of her life, adding, "Because they see me in rhinestones with glitter in my hair. That really is who I am."
But then I would come home and not leave the house for 3 weeks and not get out of my pajamas, not practice.
Judd's forced premature retirement in 1991 didn't help. Over the years, she occasionally went on the road with Wynonna Judd on short tours. But after these brief episodes ended, she felt catapulted back into depression and suicidal thoughts, according to the New York Post. One of her worst episodes of depression occurred after completing the last Encore tour in 2012. At her worst, the singer's depression contributed to extreme panic attacks, not remedied by heavy medication. To get better, she turned to various therapies and even spent time in psychiatric facilities, but to no avail. To add to her spiraling feelings of grief, memories she'd suppressed since early childhood sprang to the surface. They involved her great uncle sexually abusing her as a child, which devastated her.
My final diagnosis was severe depression, treatment resistant.
After retiring from the Judds, Naomi Judd struggled to find purpose in her life and a new identity apart from the one she'd crafted on stage. Inevitably, this led her to explore some of her other interests. Dolly Parton alluded to one of these in an Instagram following Judd's death, writing, "Naomi and I were close. We were very similar. We were the same age and both Capricorns. We loved big hair, makeup, and music. It would be the love of makeup that helped Judd forge new paths after leaving the Judds. According to Women's Wear Daily, Judd started her cosmetic company, Naomi, creator of the esteemed skincare line, in 2003. The line was developed in collaboration with Judd's dermatologist, Melvin Elson, with the help of a biochemist. By 2004, the company boasted $9 million in sales, according to Cosmetic Designs. On May 6, 1989, Naomi Judd married Larry Strickland in a ceremony at Nashville's Christ Church, with both daughters serving as bridesmaids. Wynonna Judd also officiated over the ceremony, along with Don Potter, a member of the Judds band. The wedding launched Naomi Judd's second foray into domesticity, and the couple was still going strong 3 decades later. Sadly, Naomi Judd died just a few months before their 33rd wedding anniversary. During her lifetime, when asked about the success of her marriage, Judd attributed it to similar backgrounds, saying, "Larry and I are both from a family of 6, very blue-collar. He worked in the tobacco field every summer. My daddy had his own gas station and taught me the hard work ethic. Larry is the most humble person I've ever met." But they share more than a similar socio-economic past. The two also loved music and singing. Strickland enjoyed a musical career as a backup singer for Elvis. Although Naomi Judd would forever be synonymous with the Judds, she represented a true Renaissance woman. Highly successful in a variety of endeavors, she explored wide-ranging passions. For example, she was a prolific author. She wrote 3 children's books, as well as 1995's Love Can Build a Bridge, 2004's Naomi's Breakthrough Guide, and 2016's River of Time, My Descent into Depression, and How I Emerged with Hope. But her talents didn't end there. According to People, she spent 2 years hosting Naomi's New Morning on the Hallmark Channel from 2005 through 2007. She also returned to the channel for appearances on Home and Family, including holiday specials. What's more, she worked on the, as of her death unreleased, Fox-led docu-series The Icon Project. The project highlights some of the biggest names in music, and Judd served as an executive producer of the show along with Wynonna Judd. According to Variety, the first season of the project was set to showcase the Judds. As of this, there's no word on whether this will change in the wake of Naomi Judd's unexpected death. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, please contact the crisis text line by texting HOME to 741-741 or call the National Alliance on Mental Illness helpline at 1-800-940-NAMI. That's 1-800-940-6264. Or visit the National Institute of Mental Health website